You are Locked On Phillies Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi, welcome to the show. My name is Mark Farzetta. This right here is Locked On Phillies Postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. This particular episode tonight is brought to you by the amazing people at Tax Network USA. That's right, Tax Network USA. Did you know that it's never too late to resolve your tax issues with the IRS? Don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000. That's 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/locked-on. Let's all remember to breathe, okay? Despite the last two nights being horrible, let's all just remember to breathe for a second and not totally do what I know a lot of people would think we're going to do in this situation with this freak out, man. So let's just with me right now, whether you're watching live, whether you're listening to the podcast later, whether you're watching the YouTube show later. Ready? Nope, still pretty pissed off. I'm finding myself like, look, I'm upset at the performance from Aaron Nola tonight. Obviously, I'm upset about a controversial call, but let's face it, Aaron Nola did not have anything close to his best stuff today. And I'm noticing in the early goings of the ball game that knuckle curveball, the Red Sox are doing a fantastic job. Like there must have been a meeting. There must have been some conversation had in the clubhouse there at Fenway Park amongst the Boston Red Sox, whether it was their analytics department, whether it was the batting coach, whatever the case may be. Hey, you get two strikes on, you got to watch out for that knuckle curve. That's his put-away pitch. Really, at any point in the at-bat, you got to wait on that knuckle curve. If you think you're going to get that knuckle curve, you just got to make sure you tattoo that baseball. You got to show a little patience, almost like it's slow pitch softball. That's what you got to wait for. If you see that knuckle curve, you see that release, you recognize it, just be patient. And yeah, they were patient. They were very, very patient. And the one pitch that absolutely did the Phillies in was O'Neal's 3-run home run. That was not a pitch to hit. That was not a bad pitch by Aaron Nola. Go figure. There were a lot of bad pitches, but the one that got taken for the most runs was that 3-run home run that Nola, oh my goodness gracious, that was not a good pitch to hit, and yet he cleared it. Just destroyed that baseball 430 feet. That was a thing of, well, ugliness. If you're a Philadelphia Phillies fan, which I know we all are if you're watching this, good Lord, that was pretty terrible. And it was after that you're looking around and be like, hold on a second, the Phillies still don't have anybody up in the bullpen? Huh. Not helpful, Topper. Not helpful. If there was ever a time to tinker, that was a time to tinker, unfortunately. And he didn't tinker fast enough, old Tinker Topper. So another just abysmal game here for the Phillies. Now, aside from looking at what really matters, which is, hey, look, bottom line, you guys are professionals. You should go out there, regardless if it's a long layoff or not, regardless if you're Spencer Turnbull, you haven't pitched in 10, 11 days, you should go out there and still do your job. Aaron Nola, same type of thing, long layoff, you should go out there, you should still do your job. You should still go out there and you should do your thing. For whatever reason, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I'm saying what I have noticed, whether it be Christopher Sanchez, whoever it might be, Zach Wheeler, you have guys that'll go out there after long layoffs, have some struggles, maybe in the early goings, and then start to settle in nicely. Wheeler was able to do that. Sanchez was not able to do that. He did not look like himself throughout although it was brief, the entire start that he had last night. And then tonight, Aaron Nola looked insanely off. So now, before I get to the three big things about this particular game, here are some things that definitely are crossing my mind in case these are things that you've thought about as well. Just know that it's not lost on me. And again, I don't file this under an excuse. I file this under, hold on a second. This team was playing phenomenal baseball. This pitching staff was the best in baseball. And now all of a sudden you come back from London and you have some struggles. It affects everybody different. Like, people will look at, like, how are the New York Mets doing? Well, the New York Mets had a series at home against the Miami Marlins. They just squeaked out a win in the bottom of the ninth inning tonight. They took 2 of 3 in their first series back, and it was at home. their first series back stateside since going over to London. So, hey, look, they took 2 of 3 from the god-awful Miami Marlins at home. You should be able to do that. Did the Phillies have a little bit of a tougher stretch? Sure, being on the road again, this time going against the Red Sox, a team that was at least playing .500 baseball or around that at the time you drew them. The Miami Marlins, as we all know, anyone that follows baseball knows they are terrible. So if you're asking me who got the easier deal, let's see. The Mets were at home, and they draw the Marlins after being in London. The Phillies, meanwhile, stay on the road, going from England to New England to take on a .500 baseball team at Fenway Park, where there was a lot of doubles, a lot of extra base hits tonight in the ball game, as we know that, and certainly last night as well. So the Phillies certainly had the tougher draw. It would be nice if they were at home after that series, but not an excuse. Looking for an explanation for why all of a sudden, in particular, this pitching staff just couldn't find their way. Obviously, you didn't have JT Realmuto again, but Garrett Stubbs has caught Aaron Nola for the majority of the starts this season, at least recently, and his ERA has been phenomenal with Garrett Stubbs as his catcher. In tonight's ball game, unfortunately, just couldn't find his way. I don't know if he was tipping pitches. I don't know if he is very much a creature of habit, and anything more than a 5-day rest is just going to throw him immensely off the target. I'm looking for explanations as to why this happened. Nothing excuses the fact that this happened. Bottom line, be a professional, do your job. Now let's get to 3 big things. Aaron Nola, number 1, did not do his job. No, not even close. Had his his highest run total in his career, matching the most runs he's allowed in a start, and he only went 3 2/3 in this start. The only other time he did it was actually surprisingly only 2 years ago in 2022. 8 runs in this game. 11 hits surrendered. And all that through 3 2/3, throwing 90 pitches, only getting 2 strikeouts. This was really bad. And it was one of those situations where it wasn't as bad as watching Christopher Sanchez last night just absolutely barrel up pitches, but you could tell it was off. It was bad for Nola last night. Gives up the leadoff double to Duran there in the bottom of the first inning. Had a knuckle curve that he just hung up in the middle of the plate. Duran went down and he got it. Didn't have to go down too far, but he showed patience, and he put it out there for the double to center field. Hamilton goes up. He actually gets him to strike out on a knuckle curve. Okay, fine. But then O'Neill goes up there. He gets the infield single to shortstop. Sosa actually saved a run by being able to go over to the hole to stop that ball. And then Devers goes up there, and he grounds into the double play to get out of it. 19-pitch first inning for Aaron Nola. You're not overly concerned. He tried to reach in the bag once for the knuckleball as a put-away pitch. It didn't work. He reached in the bag for it again. It did work. Okay, maybe it's not as bad. Then you go into the second inning. This is where the floodgates started to open for Aaron Nola. He gives up the second double already on the night, and that's to Valdez, who got the double to left center field on a 3-2 knuckler, waiting on it, repeating theme. Then McGuire goes up there. He hits a knuckleball into the corner. Again, another knuckleball taken for extra bases. This one, another double, an RBI double to right field. It's 1-0. Then Smith steps up there, gets a high rising fastball in the zone. He gets the RBI single to make it a 2-0 ball game. Oh my God, Rafaela, he comes up with a double in the game. Then Duran comes up again. He gets a 2-run double to right field. So now it's a 4-0 game in the second inning. Already in the second inning, 5 doubles surrendered by Aaron Nola. 5 doubles already by Aaron Nola at that point in the game. His first 13 starts of the season, they showed this stat on the broadcast. Through his first 13 starts on the season, he allowed 11 doubles. At this point in the second inning, he already allowed 5. That's not good. That's bad. That's very bad. And then you watch the game go on, and you see him settle in nicely in that third inning. He had a 10-pitch third inning. Okay, all right, he allowed 4 runs. That's bad. A lot of good pitchers get taken for runs. You're trying to talk yourself into the idea of Aaron Nola just being fine and dead. He's just fine and dead. Has a 10-pitch third inning. Then in the fourth inning, the Phillies actually get him some runs back. Kyle Schwarber steps up to the plate with the bases loaded, 2 outs. He plays the role of the hero. Did he hit the grand slam to tie the game? No, but he did the next best thing, a bases clearing double to center field that he absolutely tattooed a hanging slider from Houck, and he gets the 3-run double. So now it's a 4-3 ball game. Nola starts the fourth inning at 59 pitches. He would end the game with 90 pitches. That tells you how bad it was in that fourth inning. First thing, gets McGuire to line out to right field. Starts off well. Then he walks Smith. He strikes out Rafaela there, or Rafaela, on the knuckle curve. Maybe it's coming back. Uses a slide step. Maybe that caught him off guard as well. He gets his strikeout right there. Then he walks Duran. And this is where you're thinking, okay, is Topper going to get him? Is Topper going to get him? He's already got 2 outs in the inning. Is Topper going to get him? First and second, 2 outs. Hamilton's at the plate. He gets the RBI single to left field. That makes it a 5-3 ball game. And this is where the controversial, Duran, the walk is where the controversial call came in. The floodgates were already leaking. All right, let's just call it what it is. All right, the floodgates were already leaking. We all know that Aaron Nola did not have his best stuff. He had already given up a walk in the inning, so you already allowed a base runner. Duran's at the plate. He gets a pitch up and away, clearly a strike. Up and away, clearly a strike. It looked like home plate umpire Alex Mackay stepped back and started to call the 3rd strike. But instead, backs off, makes it a full count, I believe at the time, 3-2, and then he ends up working the walk. So now you should be out of the inning. It was a strike. It was not called a strike, but it was very much a strike. Stubbs, who you rarely ever see argue anything. I mean, JT Realmuto has his own subtle way of doing it. Stubbs, you certainly don't see him do it. He's starting to have words with McKay behind the plate. And he's just like, no, that was a ball. But for me, it was a ball. It was a ball. So now you're like, all right, well, hopefully you can get over this and you could get one more inning maybe from Nola after this. Hopefully that's what you get. Instead, this is the play where the floodgates just came breaking open. Duran works the walk. So now you got 2 runners on at this point. Second walk of the inning. First and second with 2 outs. Hamilton gets the RBI single to left field. It's a 5-3 game, and then O'Neill blasts. Not a pitch to hit, a cutter on the outside portion of the plate. Maybe a ball if he lets it go through. He reaches out, touches this baseball, and blasts it 430 feet to left center field, over the monster, onto a billboard on top of the monster, and bounces back into play. That was a moonshot of a 3-run home run, and that was really the kill shot to the Phillies at that point. That made it an 8-3 game. They would add one more run. The Phillies offense was very much done at that point, but Aaron Nola goes without saying, far from his best stuff. I don't know if it's him and Sanchez. They need to get a start under their belt under regular rest to recapture what they had through the majority of the season. And for the people that are coming out on Aaron Nola tonight that are just like, oh, Aaron Nola sucks. Told you Aaron Nola sucks. Like, this is not that. Seriously, he's got 2 bad starts on the season. You're going to stick your chest out about this one where he has a wild irregularity in his schedule? Really? That's what we're going to do? That's grasping at straws. So I'm not about to go down the path of Aaron Nola all of a sudden sucks at pitching this year, and this is going to be the beginning of the end for him or anything like that. That's going to be something that time will tell. I don't expect that to be the case. I expect him to find his rhythm again. And I'd really hate to have to look back on the London series, even though they split it with the Mets, as, oh, man, the Phillies were great, and then they went to London. Were there people talking about that with the Cubs? They had trouble last year, too. Yeah. Well, the Mets came back. They won 2 or 3. Granted, it was against the Marlins. Granted, they were at home. But they're also a really bad baseball team. So maybe this should get to them a little bit more. Phillies may be creatures of habit of their success to this point in the season. Not great. Also, let's not forget their 3rd straight road series that they've lost. Not including the London series as a road series. That's bad. That's not good. That's bad. So you look at this with Aaron Nola and say, okay, well, this is the hiccup. I can understand why there would be a hiccup. Now get back to doing what you were doing so well throughout this entire season. One last thing on Aaron Nola. Here's the thing that really stinks for him. Going into the game tonight, his ERA was below, it was 2.77 it got down to. It balloons up to 3.48 now on the year. So, not great. And also, hey, look, Sanchez wasn't good last night. The bullpen was not good last night. The bullpen was good tonight. Gregory Soto, how about this? Again, low leverage situation, of course, but an inning and a third log tonight. Got 3 strikeouts, only gave up 1 hit, no walks. There you go, Gregory Soto. Orion Kerkering gave up the only run surrendered by the bullpen, unfortunately. Then Hoffman came in, got 2 strikeouts in his inning of work, and Jose Ruiz pitched the bottom of the 8th inning and got 3 strikeouts, struck out the side there, allowing 1 hit in the bottom of the 8th inning. So that was good. Everything else pitching-wise, Aaron Nola, not good. Offensively speaking, Phillies had a couple of occasions in this game where they got the leadoff runner on and couldn't bring him home. The only time the Phillies were able to get runs across the plate was in that top of the 4th inning when Kyle Schwarber stepped up with the bases loaded, 2 outs, and actually made something happen. Kyle Schwarber led off the game with a seeing eye single that just found its way into center field. Then Castellanos unfortunately struck out on a 1-2 slider away that he just chased. It's what most people, when you think of Nick Castellanos swinging at bad pitches, it's that pitch. That's the pitch. It's the carbon copy of old Nicky 3 Buttons swinging at that low and away junk that he tries to tattoo and couldn't do it. Then Harper grounds out to second base. Stott grounds out to short. That was the end of the 1st inning. Phillies get another opportunity there in the 4th inning with Edmundo Sosa getting on with an infield single. Dahl then pops out to short. Merrifield gets hit by a pitch. He got 1st and 2nd with 1 out. Stubbs strikes out looking at a splitter. 8th pitch of his at bat. Borderline pitch, but it was a strike. He should have taken a swing at it. Rojas gets up there. He gets another infield single. So you get 2 infield singles in this. You get the bases loaded with 2 outs. Kyle Schwarber stepping up. He tattoos, just blasts that hanging slider to center field for a 3-run double. It's a 4-3 game. When Aaron Nola had a 30-pitch 2nd inning, Hawk came back in the 4th inning with a 28-pitch top of the 4th inning, and then that's when the Red Sox obviously got to Aaron Nola there in the bottom of the 4th inning. Phillies had another opportunity later in the game, getting Kyle Schwarber with a leadoff hit in the 7th inning, or leadoff walk in the 7th inning. No, leadoff hit, in the 2nd inning. Couldn't get anything going for him after that, and the Phillies' bats were cooked. Every Boston Red Sox tonight, every member of the Boston Red Sox tonight got a hit, at least one. Duran had 2, O'Neill had 2, Devers had 2, and Valdez and Rafaela had 2 as well. I'll say his name correctly at one point in my life, I promise. But it was terrible. I'm not looking for excuses for this team. I'm hoping that there are legit explanations for why this is going to be short-lived. And if this is going to be the Phillies without JT Realmuto, then hold on to your butts. Because this ain't getting easier. This ain't getting easier, unfortunately. We'll talk about where it is going coming up in a second. We'll also get your take on this as well. I want to hear what you guys have to say, how you're taking this, not loss tonight, just the loss tonight, but dropping 2 of 3 to the Boston Red Sox. Christopher Sanchez struggling so much. Aaron Nola having a historically bad start tonight with the most doubles he's allowed in the game, the most runs he's allowed in the game. In his career, we're talking about, okay, folks? In his career, we're talking about. I think it goes. I think a lot more. It can't just be explained away with London. No, it's especially when you're talking about your 3rd straight road series loss. It goes beyond London because they did play on the road twice before London. Well, a couple times before London, and they didn't fare well there either. We'll talk about it more when we come back. You're Locked On Philadelphia Sports YouTube channel. You're Locked On Phillies postcast. You guys have heard me talking about Prize Picks plenty of times. Prize Picks is a great time. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It's the most fun and exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. And all you have to do is pick more or less on Prize Picks on 2 or more player stats for your shot to win up to 100 times your cash. The finals, that's going on, both the Stanley Cup, both the NBA. You can have your fun right there with the star players. And you can also boost your payouts on select basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. Baseball season, I know for the most part we've been enjoying it in the city of brotherly love. Well, there's no better way to cash in on the action than with Prize Picks. Add your favorite players from the diamond with your Prize Picks lineups all season long, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. Take your pick, more or less, and add them to your Prize Picks lineup today. I made my first $10 deposit and received an instant $10 bonus. If you have the skills, you can play for a shot at turning your $10 into $1,000 with Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's LOCKEDONMLB. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's just that easy with the great people of Prize Picks. Policy Genius. Got to talk about Policy Genius. This is a serious thing. A lot of us, we all know that life can be unpredictable. And we all know that a good life insurance policy can help your family out and help you out as well, giving you that peace of mind that you need. When you talk about a family having a financial safety net, you're talking about using Policy Genius to make sure you can get the best possible policy imaginable so that you're prepared for the unknowns. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace that makes choosing the right policy for your family easy and quick. Now, you might do your own research, you might have that pressure on you, and you might not know where to go. Well, how would you like to do this? How about instead of doing all that on your own, you talk to Policy Genius and their team of award-winning agents that can help you through this entire process with Policy Genius. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million worth of coverage. Some options are 100% online, and they let you avoid those unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius is just fantastic. I love to recommend it. It's something I've used for myself. One insurer over another, you use Policy Genius. You have them going against yourself, and it really incentivizes you to do so. It is amazing. You get the peace of mind finding the right life insurance with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com or click on the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how you could save. Use policygenius.com. That's policygenius.com. I am curious to see what you guys have to say about this. So I am going to jump into the chat here and see what you guys are doing. John Marinelli, gut check time in Baltimore. Sure feels like it. The O's have won 7 of their last 10, so they're playing some good baseball. The Phillies can't say that. IBH, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Mr. MP, what's popping? Oh, no. I'll give you justice. I feel like I need a laugh in tonight's show. Oh, no, we suck again. Shout out Rob Schneider. They left their game in London. Better get a shot back. Better get that shot back. I hope so. IBH, just the thought. It would have been nice if when coming back from London, there could be a home series. I will say, before when the Phillies were leaving London and headed to Boston, I knew the Mets had a home series against the Marlins, and I especially as an East Coast team, just tell you the best way to least affect your schedule is having that short flight back. Okay. Now, I understand these guys aren't flying like us. You know what I mean? They have some pretty nice accommodations when flying. Yeah. A 6-hour living room, maybe. You know what I mean? So for me, I did find it interesting that the Phillies, that the Mets were going home and the Phillies were going to Boston. That seemed odd. Like, if you're going to ask a team to do an international game or two in this case, then maybe the road back is right back at home, or they could sleep in their own bed. I know the counter argument today is like, oh, well, they go 6 hours to Seattle or California or wherever, and they're back. They got to fly the 6 hours back. It's not the same. We're talking about 3 more hours of flight time. Come back from California, it's like 5.5 hours. Come back from England, it's like 6.5 hours. It's a little bit different. Doing that twice, it's a little bit different. So that didn't make sense to me. That home plate umpire, John Marinelli, that home plate umpire, though, what's going on with him? I don't know. That was a strike. It wasn't close. It was all of the outside corner of the plate, so much so that it was on the inside portion of the outside corner, if that makes any sense. A little bit above the belt, well below the letters. Don't know. Look, let's call it what it is. Aaron Nola was not good tonight. The floodgates, as I mentioned, I think a good way to describe it is the floodgates were really leaking. There was a couple of bolts missing. Be like, oh boy, here it comes. And then the minute he missed that pitch, that's when the gates just exploded open. Jay Rose, thank you for that comment. I can't put that up, but thank you. Baltimore about to sweep the Phillies. Jay Rose, come on. Thank you, Raymond. Yes, Raymond Clark, thank you. You and I are on the same page. This loss is on us, but the umpire was terrible. Both those things can be true. The offense, yes, guys are hurt, but they have been bad for a month. We've talked about Alec Boehm. He has really struggled big time. Brandon Marsh had the best Philly offensively other than Kyle Schwarber was Brandon Marsh, and he's playing in the minors right now because of a rehab assignment. 3 hits tonight for Brandon Marsh. You love to see that. And he even did the little shimmy. Huh? So they said during the broadcast tonight. Outfield production all year has been so bad. I'm sick of Rojas playing and Castellanos not bleeping hitting. I didn't know he was Cal Ripken Jr. 0 RBIs for Castellanos and Harper all series. Yeah. Getting smoked by special team Colorado and Boston. Road series. Yep, not great. Timothy B. This is a good point. Farzetta, Nola had a bad game tonight. The umpire was terrible too, but this manager stinks. So he finally gives Boehm a day off, but refuses to sit Rojas and Castellanos. That is a great point. I don't get it either. Like if you're Rob Thompson and you're trying to be like clear to like Nick Castellanos' season to get it going, you know what I'm saying? Trying to put out the defibrillator, rub the paddles together, charge him. You've done everything possible. It's not coming. Like I have even been like, all right, great, hit 260 for the fella there, Nick Castellanos, since he was put up in the cleanup spot when Alec Boehm had the day off in San Francisco. All right, Rob Thompson, you're trying to get him going. He's still not like 260. Shouldn't be like, oh, good, he's hitting 260 now. That is better than 200. Well, I think the guy needs a break. I think the guy needs a day off. I think when Brandon Marsh comes back, you do give him that time off. Rojas has had his struggles too. Like, I understand when you're talking about a 9 or 8 hole hitter here with Johan Rojas, giving him an opportunity to actually see if he can play at the major league level. A guy like Nick Castellanos, who has struggled all year long. Oh, my goodness. Seeing him bat in the 2 spot tonight when he got Bryson Stott in the lineup, and Bryson Stott hasn't been great either, but I'd rather him actually be up there taking some pitches as opposed to Nick Castellanos swinging at every first pitch he sees all the live long day. Like, I thought you were going to go a different route with that, honestly, Timothy. And that's a good point that you do make. But the interesting thing for me is, at what point would you have gotten somebody up in the bullpen for Aaron Nola? Don't say the first inning. The 3rd inning I mentioned, he had a good streak about him in terms of only needing 10 pitches to get through that. 4th inning is when he started to get gotten to big time. Okay, so this is the inning we're talking about here as to whether or not you would get somebody up. McGuire lines out to right field. You get your first out of the inning. He walks Smith. Do you just go right there and you get Orion Kirkering up or Gregory Soto up? You had Strom pitch last night. You're going into a big series here against the Baltimore Orioles. Do you want to burn this many bullpen guys early? I don't mind Rob Thompson being a little conservative, especially when you're going up against the Orioles, who are one of the best teams in baseball as well. Not a team that's barely around 500 this year in the Boston Red Sox. Do you jump right there and say at the first walk, when he walks Smith in the 4th inning, do you then get somebody up? Because after that, he strikes out Rafaela on the knuckle curve, using that slide step. He gets the 2nd out of the inning. Then he should have struck out Duran, and you'd be out of the inning. But instead, you end up surrendering the RBI single to Hamilton and the 3-run home run to O'Neill. It would be a quick time to get to, and I'm not dying to get to Gregory Soto either if I'm Rob Thompson. He wanted to see if Nola could get out of it. Nola, unfortunately, got out of it, but wasn't credited with getting out of it. Now Castellanos doing nothing all year is showing with no Turner, no Trey. Yeah. Julian, what's going on? The obsession with Rojas is insanity. His stats are bad, including his defense. Thompson is going to play Rojas in playoffs. I can see it because they won't send the bleeping guy down to AAA. Thank you for not really cursing. Yeah, it's not good. It's bad is what it is, unfortunately. And I know we've been saying throughout the year that if Johan Rojas is the problem, you got bigger problems. Well, right now the Phillies got bigger problems. You have a guy in Alec Boehm, who now all of a sudden just can't hit. And that's not good. You can't have Bryce Harper cool off. Kyle Schwarber, he had a very good series. I'm very happy to see offensively what he got from Kyle Schwarber in this series. But everybody else left a hell of a lot to be desired. Hell of a lot to be desired. And now it's not going to get any easier as you take on the O's. Speaking of the O's, we'll talk about where they're headed coming up in a second. You're Locked On Phillies postcast. You guys have heard me talking about the amazing people, the wonderful people, of course, at Tax Network USA. Here on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, whether it's the draft, whether it's spring training, or even the playoffs, championship, whatever it might be. It's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collections season. You might think, I got my taxes done. I got a nice little refund. This is great. And then all of a sudden you get a letter. They notify your place of business and you have to have your wages garnished. Or maybe you trust some rinky-dink tax people with your taxes. I'll just go here because it's quick, it's easy, it's right there, it's close to my work, whatever. And then they ended up missing something and you might owe thousands of dollars. Or maybe you're like me, working in the media. Sometimes you get a lot of paychecks from a lot of different people. Things get missed, as it happened in the early goings of my career. I had to learn this the hard way. That's why I'm grateful for these people at Tax Network USA. The IRS can garnish your wages. They can levy your bank accounts. They can even seize your property, but don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and a A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients, including me. I'm involved in not all of this, but I'm some of this. Over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require planning for taxes, or finally hit that parlay this season, you can help. You need help with it all. You use the great people at taxnetwork.usa. Call 1-800-549-1000. That's 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com. That's tnusa.com/locked-on to see or you can also see the link in the description below for more help. That's Tax Network USA, tnusa.com/locked-on. Phillies, no rest for the weary, kids. They're right back at it tomorrow night, 7:05 start time in the city by the bay on the East Coast. The Baltimore, the Charm City, as it's known. They'll be taking on the Baltimore Orioles for a 3-game series over this weekend. Tomorrow night, it starts off again at 7:05. Rangers Suarez back in the bump, looking for win number 11 on the season. He is 10-1 with a 1.81 ERA. Suarez coming off his first start since taking that liner off the hand previous to his London start. In London, he went 5 2/3, surrendering 2 runs, 8 hits. Gross, but yeah, that's what he did. 8 hits, surrendering just 1 walk in his 5 2/3 there against the New York Mets. As for the Orioles, they'll be trotting out Kyle Brandish in this one. He is 2-0 with a 2.62 ERA. He is coming off a start against the Tampa Bay Rays, where he went 6 innings, allowing just 1 hit, no runs, striking out 9. Pretty much feast or famine in his last 3 starts. 2 of them have been against the Tampa Bay Rays. He allowed 5 runs in just 2 2/3 innings on 7 hits and 3 walks against Tampa Bay Rays back on the 1st of June. And then back on May 26th, 7 scoreless against the Chicago White Sox. That's how that went down. So the Phillies hope to get that, famine version of Kyle Bradish, 27-year-old right-handed pitcher, going for the Orioles tomorrow at Camden Yards. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This right here is Locked On Sports Philadelphia on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more takes on your Phillies. Connor Thomas will have your Locked On Phillies podcast tomorrow, so don't miss that. But I'll be back with you guys for your Locked On Phillies postcast tomorrow night after what we hope the Phillies will get a win against the 45-23 Baltimore Orioles. The Phillies now 46-22 on the season. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. I'm Mark Farzetta. See you tomorrow night. Bye.